final talk slot for today. We have, of course, got lightning talks coming up, but we're finishing up our block here with a talk by Rachel about incident management. Please give a big hand of applause for Rachel, and I will leave you in her good care.
Thank you, Luke. So, something's gone wrong. And they're calling you. You get a ping on Slack. You're just sitting there minding your own business. What are you going to do? What are your next steps? I should apologize. This is the only Ghostbuster reference for the rest of the talk. So this talk is going to be focusing on all the things you need to consider when solving incidents, besides a bit about the actual solving of the incident, all the stuff that should happen around it. Some disclaimers: any tech problem incident I bring up, it's not based in reality, it's just an example, nothing to do with any of my current or previous employees. And I'm not speaking on the behalf of the SES. I am just talking about my own experiences in the SES. Which brings me, what is the SES? Perk is to meet ordered puppies on this work. So SES is the State Emergency Service. Every state and territory in Australia have an SES group. We are a voluntary service which provides assistance in the case of storms, floods and tsunamis. So for me, where I live in New South Wales, in Sydney, this is mostly like a tree has come down and it's on a house or a fence, or your roof is leaking. We also do flood rescue, so a lot of people try to drive through rivers and the car doesn't like that too much. Or search and rescue, so if someone's gone for a walk and didn't come back home, we do a lot of that. In more rural areas, you'll have car crash rescue as well, because there's not an ambulance in every single town. That's all volunteer-based as well. I should say rural fire service or country fire service does a lot of that as well. Mostly I'm looking at my own local area where I live, but in the cases of big events like all the storms we had up north this year, or there were some big storms in Melbourne about a year ago now, we'll form teams and send and deploy them out to different locations. I want to emphasise we are volunteers. In New South Wales, we have over 10,000 volunteers. There are paid staff members for like doing admin, actually answering the phones, because we do have the 132 500. That is the emergency number you ring if there's ever an issue. So this is the SES. Let's get started about actually incident management. So something has happened, you're getting the call. What are the first things you should consider? If you're on hours, if you're actually working when stuff happens, chances are you're probably in a good state to actually help solve the incident. But if it's after hours, if it's weekend, maybe not. Maybe you have to actually take stock and go, am I actually someone who can help at this stage? So this I'm Safer acronym is something we use on an individual level, going, am I a good person to help right now? So first off, illness. If you're not well, you might not be, not thinking straight, you could infect others. Probably not a good time to say, yes, I can help. Medicine, so if you're taking any medication that could make you drowsy or not as responsive, also probably not good to help. But also make sure you've taken the medicines that you need to keep you functioning. So if it's going to be a long instance, like have you taken any antidepressants, any stimulants that you need? Do you have it so you can take it later if you have any time-sensitive medications? Stress, alcohol and fatigue, the next few, they're all related to be able to make sure you can make the best decisions you can. You don't want to have your reflexes delayed. You don't want to be just not that person that people want to be working with. And with these, with the stress and fatigue, this is something you especially need to keep on top of. Because if you're in an incident, it's stressful, you've got lots of things happening. You will become more stressed. You will become more fatigued. So it's something, the R, I'm going to jump ahead to the R, that you have to reassess all the time. E, for expertise, sometimes people contact you and you're like, can you help with the system? You're like, yeah, that's not me, that's the other Rachel on the other team. So be keeping in mind that, yeah, maybe you're not the right person, maybe you don't have the expertise. Don't always put up your hand straight away. Okay. So you've looked at yourself, yeah, I'm good to help. And you've started looking at the problem and like, oh, okay, this is something I need to get some more people in together. It's not just a simple restart a service or pipeline. So SMEAX is what we use to keep it a clear, concise summary of what we're doing. So S for situation. That's a super clear, simple statement of what we're doing. Like a tree has, or what has happened. A tree has fallen on a car at 42 Wallaby Lane, say, or the website is down. M for mission is what you actually want to get out of, what you actually need to solve. So we want to get the tree off the car, or we want to get the website up and running. It's not talking about how we're going to do that. That's the next point, execution. We can't have, at this stage, we haven't looked too closely at it, at what our problem is. We might not know exactly what our execution is, but you start throwing out ideas. Okay, tree on car, get some chainsaws out, cut it up, move it. Maybe we could just pick up the tree and move it. But throwing around a few ideas of what you could be potentially doing. Because you need to have some idea, because when you get to the administration step, that is where you put all your details about what you actually need to take with you and things like that. Okay, we have an idea of our execution, so therefore we're going to take this vehicle that has this equipment on it. In administration, you also have things like the contact details of who reported the incident, where you're going, what you're doing. So in your tech problem, like, so if your website is down, it would be still, like, these are the different teams we need to do. This is the actual website we're talking about, domain, when it went down, sort of all your background. Command and communication. So command is, who's leading this problem? Who's the one that actually has got making sure we're getting to this problem? You want a single person who is in command, because if you have multiple people running around, each doing their own different thing, you're going to have, someone's going to try and restart this service, someone's going to do this other completely different thing. You could be making more problems for yourself. Communication is a really big one, I find too, when I've been at work, that you have multiple email chains going around, you have multiple private DMs going around. As soon as something happens and it's more than one person, start up your own dedicated chat group that has everyone in there, that people can add people as they come in. It's written communication, it's all there. You might also want to start up a video chat so that if you have people, you can quickly talk to each other. So you're not having to think about typing and anything like that. So safety for SES will mean is quite a lot of focus on physical safety. So what personal protective equipment do you have? Are you wearing your steel cap boots? Are you wearing your long sleeves, etc.? Also mental safety too, because some jobs that you do, especially if you're doing like missing person search, you don't know what you find at the end. You do have quite a focus on mental safety as well. With your tech problem, yeah, you need physical, maybe less so, unless you're actually going into dealing with your hardware, setting that up. But keeping an eye on that everyone's still, no one's stressed, no one's snapping at each other, that you are actually being able to focus on your task and not start spiraling. So yeah, that picture there, that's what a typical SMEAC situation looks like in the SES. You're sort of standing around going, okay, talking through. You might be in a vehicle driving to the job going, okay, what are we doing? We'll confirm. Okay, so we've done the sort of initial planning, we've got a proper problem, we're going to go out and try and solve this. And we've got a small team together, we've realised that, oh, actually, no, this is quite big. We need to get even more people together. Remember this picture, because it's going to have some updates in a moment. So in the SES, we use the Australasian Inter-Services Incident Management System, or AIMS. And it's not just the SES. The police do it, the fireys use it, a whole bunch of different organisations, like the health department uses it for COVID response and other diseases. I've seen agricultural departments use it for locust outbreaks. So highly flexible, and it gives you a framework to allow you to scale your response. It was actually developed in Australia after the Ash Wednesday bushfires in Victoria in the 1980s. It was derived from the US National Incident Management System, or NIMS. And it does mean that too, when we send firefighters over to the US to fight their forest fires, we're actually using a very consistent system with each other. So it's used from anything from like a small one team solving this situation to, say, like the 2019-2020 bushfires that had multiple states. I don't know how many services would have been involved with it, but yeah. And that went on for like 4 months or something. Okay, so the principles of AIMS. I should say by AIMS unfortunately is proprietary. So you can find a decent amount of information online, but to be officially using AIMS, that is, all proprietary stuff. Photo update. That was about an hour after the initial photo, where we got 2 pumps into the water and we were pumping, and it hasn't gone down much. At that point, we actually had called the fire and rescue in to be like, hey, can we borrow your big pump? Unfortunately, the water wasn't deep enough for their big pump, but we at least got more pump in that water. It's about knee deep. Okay, so principles of AIMS. First one is management by objectives. You have one objective. We want to get rid of all that water. We want to get the website up. You're not worrying about other things. You're not worrying about what about this new framework or that. Just like, no, you're getting one thing done. Different teams might have different sub-objectives, but you're all working towards one objective. Unity of command. So I touched on this earlier. You have one person who is in charge of the whole operation, but also within your individual teams, you have. I know I have one team leader that I report to. It's not that I don't talk to people in other teams, but that's how the communication structure goes. I talk to this person. I know if I'm a lead myself, I know the people below me. So this is how we keep track of what information is coming through. Because if you start just going, well, random person here, by the way, it doesn't necessarily get passed back up. And you also have one person flooded with heaps of information, so you want to avoid that. Which is where we got span of control as well. So what that's referring to is that generally, in this context, we say you should only be having 4 to 6 people reporting to you. Any more than 6, and you're not being able to actually focus on them, and we actually make sure that they're safe and that you knowing what they're actually doing. If it's less than 4, maybe there's too much administration overhead. And you should be starting to look at downsizing and grouping teams back together. Flexibility. So that is that no two incidents are the same. They can be similar, but you can't just be like, oh, well, we did that over here. Why don't we just do that here? You have to be flexible. You have to actually look at what the situation is. Don't get sort of stuck in your head about, well, this is how we always do things. Last one, functional management. So there's 5 areas of functional management. This is going to be the next slide. In a small situation, if it's just like you have one, like you or in a team that's trying to solve something, there's probably only one person doing all of these things. So it might be your manager or someone like that, or who's coordinating everything, letting the stakeholders know what's happening, making sure things are working. Bigger problems, there will be multiple teams under each of these areas. So first up is control. So that's again the incident controller, the person who's in charge of everything. They are managing all the other areas of their operation. They might have a whole team dedicated just to support them. One of the key things is too, if it's like more than 8 hours, more than a shift, you'll have a backup. So, or even if you're like just going, I am going to the toilet, my deputy is now the incident controller. So you always have someone that you can escalate to and someone who makes the final decision. Planning. These are the people who are aware of all the moving parts. So they'll be doing the intelligence gathering, getting all the different information, combining it, going, okay, this is what we know at this moment. These are what we're going to say are the plans. They'll propose the plans, the incident controller will be like, yep, that is good. And then it will be passed on to the operations team, which we'll get to. Public information is a really big one, I think, especially for tech issues. You want a person or a dedicated team who is solely on communicating with your stakeholders, with the public. Reason why you want a dedicated person or functionality for that is that if the person who's communicating is also getting distracted with solving the problem, you're going to have your stakeholders, your public going, what's happening? I haven't heard anything for a bit. I'm asking questions and no one's getting back to me. So having one person there going, one team there going, I'm here, I'm keeping you calm. The other thing too is you want to have a consistent message. You don't want to be told one thing and then like, oh no, sorry, that was a mistake. And keeping it as a dedicated operation helps with that a lot. So yeah, the operations team, as I mentioned, so they do the talking to the actual teams who are solving the problem, so giving them the information from the planning, saying, yep, this is what we know, this is what we need you to look at, this is how you're coordinating. They also do the letting your teams know, like, this is your resourcing, we've got this much more budget to spin up whatever we need to spin up, or yeah, or here are some extra pumps you need to get that water out. And lastly, logistics is huge. They get everything together. So getting the equipment you might need. Making sure it's in the right place at the right time, because there's no point if you find like, oh, we have something up in Brisbane, but we're in Sydney. Like, they're the ones who get it all down to. Finance is under logistics, so if you have a bunch of people working overtime, being able to get finance to approve that straight away. Some functionality you might need. Have people working overtime. You need someone to provide food to everyone, maybe doing coffee run, maybe sending food delivery vouchers if you're working remotely, so you get food. Because one, you want fed people make better decisions. Also keeps morale up quite a lot. Standing out in the rain all morning, going back and getting Thai food given to you is excellent. Okay, last bit, notice how I put the different colours next to every operation? So what will happen when in your incident management centre, people will be wearing identifying colours so you would know what unit they're in. So like a hat or like a shoulder thing or like a bib. So you can look around going, okay, there's a blue person there in logistics. There's a yellow person there in planning. And often it would have extra text on it to say what their subspeciality is. Okay, so that was 4 hours later of pumping. We couldn't do much more than that. But yeah, that was a big day. So we resolved the incident. You've done the final cleanup. I always forget how long the final cleanup is doing because like cleaning out the equipment you've used. If you've solved your tech incident, there's always like a bit of like, oh, get rid of all that debugging and all of that stuff. You've done that. What are the next things you do? So we do what we call after action reviews. You'll probably be quite familiar with it from retros, etc. So what did we do? Like going through about the different roles we did, because even though your team lead incident controller should be aware of what the different functions did, maybe they've missed something. Like one time we had a little kid who was very excited by the big truck, and so we turned the lights on for him. Community engagement. We talk about what went well, what were we happy with, but also what should we do differently. And the big thing, actually, I should say, that's the next morning of the place. Thankfully, the rest of the water went overnight. What should we do differently? It's all well and good to be like, yeah, we have communicated, we have said what we would do differently, but you need to have someone who can go away and actually make those things different. To communicate with other teams about what your learnings were, to actually put it in place. And so, like, okay, we've talked about the incident, we've gone through the different parts of the incident. What else? What else do we do? We provide first aid support on Sydney Harbour for fireworks, which is from that picture. More seriously, for SES, in the last year, I've probably done over 50 hours on actual incidents. That's actually quite a lot. We've had a lot of storms in Sydney earlier this year. But I've probably spent well over 120 hours doing other stuff. So things like training, I've done a bunch of courses on like chainsaw, on how to actually be a trainer myself, and what else have I done? Land search, whole bunch of training. We often run scenarios as a unit where we practice those skills that we might have done, that we would have learned. So setting up a height safety kit so we can get on roofs. So like constant practice, because just because you've learned it 5 years ago, you don't want to be practicing it for the first time on the actual, when things go pear-shaped. Equipment maintenance, it's all well and good that you have systems that alert you when there's issues, but have you tested it? Are you sure your tools are actually working? So getting in fairly frequently, we do it monthly, making sure all our equipment works, and it is where you think it is. So this picture is actually from one of our checklists. That's a picture of the back of the vehicle that shows you exactly where everything should be in the vehicle. I really like this because we have, when newer members come in, they don't know what a throw bag looks like, or HSKS bag 1, but they have this picture, and so they can see it and like can actually identify things. We do a lot of community engagement too, because we want people to not get themselves into situations where they need our help. So things like communicating when there are big storms about to happen, letting them know about any council services they could be helped with, like tree trimming and things like that. And admin is a massive thing. It always is, all of that hidden things that happen in the background. like someone has to plan those scenarios that we practice with. Someone has to make that excellent picture. Someone has to organise the training courses. Huge amount of work goes into that. And in your job, do you have people actually who are dedicated to that have the time to it, or is it just all like something's broken? Maybe now we should look at that thing. Another thing we do a bit of is preparing for your less likely incidences. So SES is storm, flood, and tsunami. There was a tsunami in Sydney in 1960. Some boats got overturned. Very low probability event. But if it actually happens, that is quite a high risk. So we still plan for it. This picture was from, when I was planning the tsunami plan for our area. We run scenarios still on it to see what breaks, what doesn't work, so we can keep on iterating it and make it better. So finishing up now, I've talked a lot about the SES and what we do, but it's not the only volunteer service in Australia. A lot of things in Australia runs on volunteers. We got SES, Rural Fire Service, or Country Fire Service in some states, Surf Lifesavers. They're all like big, massive organisations in Australia, very visible. Bunch of smaller ones like what I have on the screen, they're still all national ones. So like WIRES that help native wildlife, National Trust, which is the heritage building looking after, Oz Harvest, which is food, Lifeline, suicide helpline. Most of them, all of them are actually volunteer-based. You might have some staff, but vast majority of it is all volunteers. So have a think about it. My experience with SES is that my only regret is that I didn't do it earlier. And as I said, these are national groups. You might find your own local group. Like near me in Sydney, there's the National Computer Museum, who would love you to come and play with their own hardware and service it all. Very good museum, but just be warned if you go there. They're like, would you be interested? And of course, PyCon AU. So Luke, our session chair, all our AV team at the back, the organisers who have been working on it for like a year at least on getting all of this done, our registration desk, safety team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
That was a great presentation. I am myself quite enthusiastic about incident management, because it's often one of those things that people think about the least, even though it is paradoxically usually when it happens it's the most important thing that day and maybe for the next week or so as you clean up. So again, thank you for that. I will present you with your wonderful PyCon mark, and another big applause for Rachel. We do have time for questions.
Yeah, I can answer questions if there are any.
Great talk.
Thank you.
We often see on TV, like, don't drive in floodwaters and, like, speeding around holidays. If you could make a nationally broadcast television ad for developers and making them not do things, do you have any particular thing you would want to market?
Like, I'm just thinking, like, yeah, don't drive through floodwaters is a big one. Don't cheap out on your roof. Like, I've just seen slightly too many new developments when you're like, that is not sealed properly. Your manhole on the roof is tiny, and our tiniest person on our team can't even get through your manhole. Yeah. Just, yeah, keep your trees trimmed, get your gutters, clear out your gutters. Will solve a lot of issues.
Okay, any other questions?
Hello. I'm just curious, does the SES do stuff not directly related to the role as social stuff, like just group bonding social stuff that's not directly related to training and upkeep and stuff?
So what type of like social stuff? So there's like the community engagement side.
Just the group getting comfortable with each other, communicating with each other. Like
Yes, yeah, no, that's
barbecues and things like that.
that is a great, yeah, that is very good. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff together. So every week we do have weekly 2-3 hour, just sort of bit of training, bit of equipment maintenance, etc. But it's just also we get to know each other. We do, just a few weeks ago, I was doing Nav Shield, which is an orienteering competition. So we do a lot of sort of competition scenario things, which are partly skill training, skill maintenance training, but a lot of it is just being comfortable with the people you're off going to be working with. So as I said, like 50 hours on jobs, but I've spent 120 plus hours with these people. And when we actually are doing things, I could be like, yep, I know this guy, I know what they're capable of, I know what we can work together.
All right, that is our time for today. Another round of applause for Rachel.
Thank you.